Have you ever felt deep within that there's something more you're supposed to be doing, but you're not sure what? Have you ever felt like you're producing a lot, but not expressing at all? Welcome to She Made It. I'm your host, Elle Zimmerman, and I am on a mission to help you cultivate meaning through the path of creativity. Join me to eavesdrop on conversations with brave women who broke through their resistances into a life of authenticity. Because I believe if she made it, you can too. Welcome to this very unique episode, a solo episode of my podcast, She Made It. I'm your host, Elle Zimmerman, and today I do not have my co-host Clara with me because we are in COVID-19 social distancing rules. We're staying in our own homes, and we've yet to figure out the technology for us both to be on. Next episode, I guarantee we will, but we didn't want to hold up our schedule, and so I am standing in the privacy of my new home office. Actually, for this recording, I'm actually standing in my closet. I heard that was a great place for acoustics, so I may snap a selfie and share it with you. But anyway, welcome. My podcast, She Made It, launched 1 year ago this week. And I am so proud. I'm so proud of our episodes, of the feedback, the reviews on our conversations. My favorite part of the process was jumping into these unknown waters, something totally different for myself, and trusting that one step will lead me to the next. Of course, I didn't do this alone. I have a team, Clara. We have our audio engineer, Ben. I have the support of my company and my team and Curtis. But the idea around the podcast and why it was such a joy this past year is because I love learning about other people's stories. And I love having what I call curious conversations, where I get to pick the brain of the person that I'm chatting with and really dig below the surface on how they got to where they are, whether they're a business owner or a corporate exec, or they have this creative endeavor that they have launched into the world. And sometimes we see a person's ending. We see where they've landed and we compare it to our beginning. So in my conversations with women this year, I really tried to uncover and understand the process, the journey to their purpose and their creative outlet or their business. And my favorite conversations were the ones where my guest would allow herself to reveal the hard parts, the resistances, the hard parts of the journey. And I can tell you there were moments that a lot of my listeners, along with myself, breathed a collective sigh of relief. Like, okay, it's not just me. Even this person that appears to have amazing success stumbled and had challenges and resistances and doubt along the way. So it was great. We kind of got a glimpse into the process and all different kind of aspects and levels, and some people were beginning, some people were growing, some people were transitioning, but so many of my favorite conversations and such a wide range of guests. I had a dance therapist, a professional ballerina, a Broadway actress turned jewelry artist, a soap maker who was also crowned Mrs. Arkansas, actresses, clothing designers, spoken poetry artists, authors, just this incredible collection of interesting women. And I just encourage you to take some time to check out of the episodes. And as always, podcast reviews are so helpful to help get the message and get the content out to more people. So if you'd love to leave a review, I would be honored. And I am so happy. It's the anniversary of She Made It, and I like to say that we made it. And I also never dreamed a year ago that I would be sitting in the isolation of my newly set up home office, which I actually really adore. It's beautiful. I have these windows to look out and a cozy little space. But I never dreamed I'd be sitting in my new office and now my closet to record this episode because of being mandated to stay at home due to the coronavirus. It is crazy, crazy times. And I also have 3 kids doing homeschool and a business with my husband that is 100% event-based. He's a professional speaker and speaking to corporate audiences, college audiences, and beginning in, end of February, early March, we started seeing hints of this, and the first rules came out about limiting the number of people at events. And so you can only imagine 100% of our contracts were postponed, hopefully indefinitely, not forever, or rescheduled. And our lives and our business have turned upside down and inside out. But I know I'm not the only one. We have been on the phone with so many clients and colleagues, friends, family, schoolmates, and everyone. Everyone is dealing with this new temporary normal. And it's fascinating to me how different people are handling it differently. Not right, not wrong, just very, very different. And I do this weekly mastermind call with 3 other women from around the country. There's one in Denver, one in Seattle, one in Detroit, and then myself in Cincinnati. And each week we call in and we spend about 15 minutes, each of us, sharing the miracles from the past week, like what things went amazing. And we share our goals and our declarations, like our asks for the week ahead. And then we sort of reflect back to each other. We witness what we've accomplished, what we're hoping for the future. And which, by the way, there's so many reasons why a mastermind like this is invaluable for everyone. In fact, I probably should do a podcast episode just on that. So it has really been transformative for me. And I've been doing the same mastermind for over 2 years now, maybe even more. And it's so valuable to be able to have others watching your journey, your process, and then encourage you and remind you, where your blind spots are. And so anyway, it's fabulous. But the reason I bring it up is because I had the call yesterday, and each one of us is dealing with very different circumstances. There are business owners, retirees, coaches, but universally, we're all choosing to see the blessing in this uncertain and extraordinary time. And I told them yesterday that even though there's more uncertainty in my life, in my business, in my future, I'm also feeling this weird calmness. Like I have a lot of joy in this chaos. Now, don't get me wrong. I have had, and I do have moments where my chest gets tight, my stomach hurts. I think I have acid reflux. And I've had my share of losing it. And I've had breakdown moments and screaming at my kids moments and my share of tears. But overall, I feel okay. I feel pretty hopeful. And I shared this on the mastermind call today, and I shared how this joy makes me feel a bit guilty. And one of the ladies on the call referred to this Native American saying. I actually need to find exactly what it's from, but the gist of it is that in times of great challenge, you either walk through the door or fall in the hole. And everyone has the same choice, no matter what their circumstances. And so for today, I'm choosing to walk through the door, even though I have no idea where that door is leading me right now. And don't get me wrong, I have allowed myself some time to process and to get to this place. So go easy on yourself if that's not exactly where you are right now. And I'm not sure where you're listening from. And the only reason this matters is because each state in the United States, each part of the world has reacted to this COVID-19 at very different times. I'm in Ohio, and Ohio was way, way ahead of the curve for shutting things down. In fact, many thought our governor, Mike DeWine, was totally overreacting. And I guess that maybe that's still to be determined. But the idea of flattening the curve, he started that really early March. So I've been in social distancing and abiding to lockdown. My kids have been home. So more than 2 weeks, we've been into this pretty consistent, weirdly new, isolated, temporary normal. And for any of my Enneagram fans out there, it's been fun watching how each of my family members have adapted to this dramatic change. And I am an Enneagram 1. And if you are familiar, that is the style. My style is that I want to make things right. I want to make whatever's wrong improved and better. I see the problem and I see the solution. And so I am kind of made for this time because in crisis, I see the path to get us through or create structure but my ways don't necessarily work for everyone. And I had to really allow other people to process and sort of recalibrate in their own way. And I had to also realize that because my ways don't work for everyone, I had to be aware of not micromanaging everybody. And I've gotten better. Even though I think I'm right and they need to adjust, but it's been good. It's been a time for me to really realize that we're all addressing the crisis in our own way, and I need to allow others to rise up in their best way, especially those that are in close quarters or I'm working remotely with. My favorite example is that Curtis, he is an Enneagram 2, and that makes him the helper. He wants to help. So our safety is his number one concern. In fact, we have deemed him Director of Homeland Security. He won't let us touch anything. He won't let us leave the house. We can't get the mail, an Amazon delivery. He sequesters the groceries in the garage for 48 hours before we're allowed to touch them. And even though we kind of make fun of him and we tease him and he can be a bit extreme, he is in his Enneagram genius. And it makes him feel like he's doing the best to take care of us. And we've all sort of acknowledged that we're grateful because he's also staying informed and he's making sure we're washing our hands. So, that's good. That's good for us, actually. And I've deemed myself the Director of Health and Wellness. I'm requiring breaks from screen time, daily exercise, healthy snacks, and you can just imagine how much the kids love me. And we're both driving our kids crazy, but secretly, I know they're really enjoying being together with each other. And as a family, I do see these little glimmers of appreciation, acknowledging that both of their parents are caring and protecting them, even if they are sneaking candy and screen time, and they're claiming that exercise is playing Wii Sports, which is just sitting on the couch and waving a wand around. But, it's good enough, right? And I have had to evoke my midday meditation breaks and tell myself that I don't need to remind every time one of them walk by to do something or remember something, and that micromanaging never motivated anybody to do anything. So flexibility and grace, right? And I know we're all experiencing this new intensity of ideas and creativity, maybe fears and worry. I know there's been a lot of conversation about grief. And I'm part of this business mentoring program, and I have an incredible mentor, Heather Dominic. And on a call this week, she shared something really valuable. She said that everything we've been avoiding in our own growth is coming faster and more furious because of the crisis. And I just wonder if that's true for you. I'm gonna say it again. Everything that we have been avoiding in our own growth is coming faster and more furious because of the crisis. So the question that I'm asking myself and I'm asking you is, am I going to see this as an opportunity to face what I've been avoiding? Or am I going to choose not to face it? Back to that walk through the door or fall in the hole choice. Well, I've chosen to walk through the door, even though the path through the door is not super clear and the steps are like tiny, tiny baby ones. But what it calls for me to be open, to seek possibility in this uncertain time. And it does require a new level of my intentionality and focus. And you may not be there yet, and that is okay. I mean, there is a season for everything, a time for everything. A time to work, a time to play, a time to weep, a time for joy. So I just encourage you to meet yourself exactly where you are today. And hopefully some of my tips and mindsets can help to meet you wherever you are. So to help myself stay open to possibilities, the question I ask is, what can I control? And I'm centering on what can I control and what is out of my control. I can make my space beautiful and functional. I can set up structure in my new normal where everyone is home all day, yet we're all doing school and work. We've created a family meeting every day, a 5 p.m. check-in. I'm requiring that my kids make their beds each morning. We take turns walking the dog. We even rotate who makes dinner, and everyone does. And then the other person who doesn't cook gets to do the cleanup. I also ask myself, what is good? What is good? What is good is this really interesting new family dynamic that we're experiencing. I have more time to paint. My dog is getting all this extra attention, so he's really happy. And I did a post on Instagram about this, about what if this time we all eat better? We bond as a family. We sort through what is really important. What if things actually got better? So if you're interested in reading more about that, you can find it there, and there will be other videos on helping you stay creative and finding meaning in this time. This Instagram article, this post, was basically about allowing yourself to see the best case scenario in this unprecedented time. We're recalibrating, we're reprioritizing all that is missing or forgotten, and it's returning us to the good things. So I ask you, what is working better for you right now? How are your priorities shifting? What inspired ideas have you had? What new creative outlet are you exploring or going back to? One little hint, media is inundating us with the worst case scenario. And I encourage you to compartmentalize and limit how much you're taking in. For example, the other day, Curtis, who's been processing all the information and really took a while, I would say actually he sort of had a shock response and had to really sit and do nothing for several days and take it in and really process it. And one of the shifts he made is he decided to limit how much media he was taking in, and that really made a big difference for him. And he knew it made a difference because when he shifted to check in on the news and allow himself to, probably consume more than he had actually wanted, but he realized he was getting scared. It was tightening him up. All of a sudden, his ideas became, he was doubting them. There was more fear, like, what do I have to say? Why does anybody care? There's so many other people needing so much more than what I have or can offer right now. And that's not the thinking that helps us. Expanding, growing, giving, sharing, positive. So we do have to stay informed, but remember that on the news, there's nothing else to talk about. There's no sporting events. There's no political activity other than regarding the coronavirus. So there's no other news. So just be careful. And again, I don't want to minimize anyone who is struggling, who is jobless, but to hear never-ending statistics that we can't really do anything about right now isn't going to be helpful for us. It goes back to that question, what can you control? And then there's a little bit of a doing my part and having a faith and a belief that resources will be available as they are coming available. So some of you may be standing right in front of that hole, deciding whether you're going to sink into it or you're going to rise up to get through the other side of the door. And if you're in that place of stuckness, I just encourage you to start with being still. It's like I always say, your umbilical cord is the part of you that was connected to your mother in the womb. And that's like your wisest part. And tapping into your gut, tapping into that inner wisdom is really important right now because you know better what you need. So being still, staying super present, creating some sort of structure like an anchor for yourself. I encourage you to create a daily routine, maybe create a list of priorities, connecting with others, maybe making a priority to create, to practice gratitude, joy. And don't get me wrong, I also have a ton of business stuff I have to do, the stimulus relief. I had to lay off a team member. I'm talking to the bank, making sure I have cash flow to cover the monthly bills, and this stuff totally overwhelms me. So I compartmentalize it. I tell myself from this time to this time every day is when I do that work so that I can free myself up in the other parts of the day, and I put the worry in that block of time. And I free myself up in the time that I have available. So basically, I don't think about it till then. And when my mind goes to it, I say, stop, it's not time. But I do want to say that most importantly, go back to number 1, that be still and notice what is coming to you. It's that gut knowing. I'm reading the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and she has a saying in the middle part of the book that says, be still and know. And that we must go deep to rise up. I love that. And so that has been part of my practice to keep myself sort of in the space of joy and possibility. I highly suggest that you make creating and playing a priority. You can join my Facebook group, Creative Uncovery, where we're really engaging with a community of women who desire authentic and creative living. And we're meeting there. We're meeting there with videos and updates and questions. And so please join us there. The other day, because I wanted to talk a little bit about this too. The other day, our governor extended the stay-at-home order and moved the back-to-school day a month longer. So we were at April 6th and we went to May 1, which there's even speculation that that's not going to happen. But my 15-year-old went ballistic. He was doing well. We'd gotten into this little routine, but in his mind, he had a until this date objective, and it got moved a whole month. So he's my extrovert. He's super social. He loves hanging out with groups of people. In fact, he says that's his hobby, being with his friends. He got so angry. He got irritable. He got sad. He became really, really difficult to be around. He was a total brat. So the first day when it first happened, I tolerated it. I scolded him. I tried to control him. And then in one of those moments where I stopped and allowed stillness to be a part of my routine, it really hit me that it's grief. It's grief for him. And it's for all of us. We're losing so much in this process, and stages of grief are flowing through our collective humanity, whether it's anger, sadness, bargaining, denial. So at our next family meeting, I asked everybody, because they get tired of me saying, how are you? So at our next family meeting, I said, I would like you to share, what is your blessing? What are you grieving? And what is your blessing? And it was really powerful for him because he was able to voice that. And I knew that's what he was feeling, but I don't know if he knew it, and he was just kind of reacting and struggling. And when he acknowledged that he was really sad and disappointed, it was able to transition him to, he still wasn't happy, but he was able to transition into, okay, what can I make out of this? How can I make this something more positive? And I just encourage that for you. I mean, I'm really grieving that my kids aren't in school, that my son, who's a freshman in college, isn't there experiencing his first year of college. I mean, I'm grieving. I had events scheduled for my podcast live incredible connections and gatherings. And I had a business plan, a business retreat scheduled that's canceled. And so I'm not unusual. We all have loss and grief, and we have to accept that, and we have to allow ourselves that and feel that. But in the process, I encourage you to be aware of what you grieve, but also, what are you gaining? What are you gaining in this time? I know I'm gaining incredible family time. I have way more time to paint. In fact, last night we had this, we sort of settled into this new routine of family dinner, and then we kind of hang around the table. And last night, the evening turned into singing the old Little Kitty CD tunes that I used to play in the van, and I'd play through. And I was like blown away by how they knew all the words to all the songs. And I thought, okay, as I'm struggling with them, having their phones in front of their faces, way more hours than I want, I was given this little pat of affirmation that, okay, I didn't do such a bad job as a mom. They do know all the nursery rhymes, and they have these cute little songs in their memory, and it was really, really silly and fun, and we laughed, and we reminisced, and that's something that I'm gaining. So I guess I'd love for you to ask yourself that same question. What are you grieving? And what are you gaining? And maybe ask someone in your family, what is their blessing in this? So, to end our conversation today, I would just like to ask and really encourage you to focus in on, what are the possibilities that you're leaning into? Is this crisis bringing up an area of growth that you've been avoiding, and it's coming at you faster than ever? And tap into that divine inspiration, that gut knowing, to see what possibilities are ahead for you in this. And if you're struggling and if you're not sure and you want a sounding board, you can go to lzimmerman.com, and I have a place there to click for a discovery call, and no strings attached. This is a time where people are offering services, offering courses, offering coachings, offering all kinds of things. And I'm offering this to you not because there's a bait and switch and a hook at the end. Like I said, I'm an Enneagram 1. I see what to do next. I see how to make problems into solutions or paths through them. So I would love for you to connect with me if that would be helpful. Remember, the Facebook group there is for community. Follow me on Instagram. I'm kind of documenting some of this journey. And then if a discovery call is the right thing for you, I'd love to hear from you. Again, happy anniversary. She made it. Thank you for helping this year be possible. I would love for you to keep following us. And in the meanwhile, stay safe, stay home, be healthy, and look around. And I want you to notice 3 blessings right before your eyes right now. Have a fantastic day, and we'll meet next time. I'm so grateful you joined us for today's episode. I bet you're here because you know there's something more for your life. Whether you're moving into something creative or letting go in order to take that next creative step, I have something for you. My free guide to graceful transitions. You can find it at lzimmerman.com/transitions. And remember, if she made it, you can too.